Good evening, or good morning, depending on where you're reading this. Before anything else, we need to take a breath together. The story circulating right now about Savannah Guthrie, her mother Nancy, and a private off-the-record conversation allegedly involving Al Roker has taken on a life of its own. It is emotional, it is intense, and it is being shared as if it were verified truth. But here is what must be said clearly and calmly. There is no confirmed evidence that such a private 45-minute meeting happened, no public statement from Al Roker confirming these claims, and no verified documentation supporting the deeply personal psychological details being attributed to him. When a family is in crisis, especially one connected to a public figure at NBC and the Today broadcast, speculation can spread faster than facts. That's where responsibility matters most. The power of a compelling narrative. The reason this story feels believable is not because it has been proven, but because it is emotionally compelling. It paints a vivid psychological portrait: the driven daughter seeking approval, the steel-willed mother, the seasoned colleague finally speaking a hidden truth. It follows a structure we instinctively understand. Childhood pressure becomes adult perfectionism. Public composure hides private fear. A crisis exposes lifelong emotional architecture. It is cinematic in its design. But storytelling structure does not equal factual accuracy. When unnamed sources are cited, when phones were allegedly left in another room, when no recordings exist and everything is relayed through layers of retelling, we must recognize that we are in the realm of narrative, not verified reporting. Compelling stories can still be incomplete, exaggerated, or entirely untrue. Why anonymous sources demand caution? Anonymous sources have a place in journalism, but they require rigorous verification. In this case, we are told that one of the three people in the room shared the conversation. We are asked to trust that person's credibility without evidence. That is not inherently wrong, but it is fragile. Recollections are subjective. Emotional conversations can be interpreted differently by each listener. And when the subject matter involves deeply personal family dynamics, memory becomes even more vulnerable to distortion. There has been no on-the-record confirmation from Al Roker, no public statement clarifying his views, no formal acknowledgement from NBC. Without corroboration, repeating such claims as fact risks misrepresenting real individuals who have not consented to having their inner lives dissected publicly. The temptation to psychologize public figures. It is natural to analyze visible behavior during a crisis. When Savannah appears composed on camera, viewers search for meaning in her posture, her tone, her phrasing. But assigning detailed psychological motives, especially those framed as lifelong trauma responses, crosses into speculation. Suggesting that every calm sentence is the echo of a childhood standard, or that every steady glance is evidence of internal torment, may sound insightful. Yet, without direct confirmation from the person herself, it remains interpretation. Public figures develop professional composure through training and experience. Years in broadcast journalism teach control under pressure. Calm does not automatically equal suppression. Strength does not automatically equal damage. We must resist the urge to turn human resilience into pathology without evidence. The ethical line in personal storytelling. There is also an ethical dimension here. When deeply personal childhood anecdotes are attributed to someone through second-hand retelling, we must ask, who benefits from this being public? Did Savannah consent to these stories being shared? Did Al Roker intend for his alleged reflections to be distributed widely? When private family dynamics become viral content, the individuals at the center lose control over their own narratives. Even if some elements were once shared casually in conversation, context matters. A throwaway comment in a makeup room is not the same as a formal public disclosure. Turning intimate moments into public analysis can unintentionally cause harm, even when the intention is sympathy. Grief does not follow one script. Another important reminder: there is no single, correct way to respond to crisis. Some people cry openly, others grow quieter. Some speak in raw emotional language, others default to careful, measured phrasing. Interpreting controlled communication as proof of repression oversimplifies human coping, especially for someone who has spent years moderating national go conversations. Precision is instinctive. Savannah's professionalism may reflect training, not fear of failing someone. It may reflect focus, not emotional avoidance. During difficult times, people often lean on the strengths they know best. For a journalist, that strength is structured communication. That alone does not confirm deeper psychological narratives being suggested. The risk of amplifying unverified claims. When emotionally charged accounts spread online, they can shape public perception long before facts are established. Even if later disproven, the narrative lingers. That is why caution matters. Repeating detailed claims about family pressure, lifelong approval seeking, or internal fear, without confirmation, can unintentionally cement an image that may not reflect reality. Public figures deserve scrutiny in professional matters, but their private emotional histories should not be reconstructed from anonymous retellings. Responsible engagement means asking, has this been verified? Has the individual confirmed it? Are we sharing empathy, or are we amplifying conjecture? In moments of crisis, restraint is not indifference. It is respect. What we can acknowledge honestly. Here is what can be acknowledged without speculation. Savannah Guthrie is a seasoned journalist who has navigated personal and professional challenges in the public eye. Roker is a longtime colleague who has worked alongside her for many years. Colleagues who share early morning schedules often form close bonds. It is entirely plausible that concern, care, and private conversations exist within that environment. It is also entirely possible that personal history influences how someone responds under pressure. But possibility is not proof. Until statements are confirmed directly by those involved, anything more detailed remains unverified. Compassion does not require embellishment. Choosing humanity over drama. The most constructive response in situations like this is simple. Extend grace. Instead of dissecting posture and tone, we can acknowledge that any daughter facing uncertainty about her mother would be under immense emotional strain. Instead of debating whether composure equals conditioning, we can recognize that strength and vulnerability often coexist. Public storytelling tends to heighten extremes. Either someone is perfectly strong or secretly shattered. Real life is rarely that binary. Humanity is quieter and more complex. Offering support without attaching dramatic psychological conclusions protects both dignity and truth. Where we stand right now. At this moment, there is no official confirmation supporting the detailed private conversation being circulated. There is no on-camera statement from Roker affirming these remarks. There is no verified documentation of the childhood stories being described in this narrative format. What exists is a powerful story that resonates emotionally. But resonance alone does not transform rumor into fact. In times like these, the most responsible approach is patience. Let verified updates come from credible sources. Allow families to navigate private emotions without public psychoanalysis. And remember that behind every headline is a real person who deserves accuracy as much as empathy.